Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Marvel Legends Scarlet Witch figure, which I think is probably not one of the best figures out there, but it's the only one we have of her for now. We may see a new one soon, being that she will be connected to a few upcoming films, it looks like. But for now, this is what we have, so this is what we're going to take a look at. Now, if you watched my X-Men figure review, you noticed that I didn't realize, but I had given away my Scarlet Witch figure, so I had to buy a new one. This is the one I got. It looks like I didn't get the best one out of all of them. The face has what looks like freckles. That's really not supposed to be there as far as I remember, and it doesn't look the best, but that's okay. She is good enough to fill her gap until I find a better one for really cheap or something like that. She's part of the Legendary Riders series, so she has this hover scooter thingy. I have no idea if it is canonical in that it was ever in the comics or anything like that, but she does come with it. It's fairly well detailed for being just some goofy accessory, which I think most people will never use. But that's it. The funny thing is, though, the way she's designed, if you peg her feet in, well, I guess I can just show you. If you peg her feet into these onto these pegs here, then you can't really have her hold the handles unless she's standing straight up. And so it looks really kind of just goofy. I don't really understand the purpose. I mean, you couldn't like bend her over to be behind the shielding part or the windscreen or anything like that. So I don't know, it's really awkward. I don't really understand why it exists, but it does. So let's get rid of that. Jeez. There we go. And let's look at the figure. She stands just about 6.5 inches tall to the very top of her hat thingy. Mine wasn't put on correctly, so I just kind of put a dab of glue on there to hold it in place. I need to reposition her hair and hat, but for now that's probably close enough. The sculpt isn't horrible for her head or for her hair, but the paint is not very good. The hair is glossy, and there's a lot of red peeking through, and I got this fresh out of the package. It was brand new when I bought it, so it's just not the best. It's really kind of, the paint job's kind of bad. And then aside from the freckles, though, the unintentional freckles, the face paint's not horrible, so I gotta say it's not too bad there. She does have some shading throughout the pink and the red on her, but it still just kind of has a cheap feel. It doesn't quite get the job done. And this is largely the same body as Mystique, and I think maybe even Emma Frost. It's hard, I don't really remember for sure, but it's that kind of not so great body. There are some things that aren't too bad, but some things that aren't very good. The head is on one of these hinged pegs, so it can look forward and back, or up and down, I mean, and then side to side, no problem at all. She has this cape, which kind of can spin around a little easily, so it would have been nice if they glued it down, but it's a really nice material. It's sculpted well, it's nice and soft, and it has shading on it, so that's cool. She has a couple different pieces of articulation in the torso. As you can see, she has this kind of upper diaphragm joint it's not really the most appealing piece of articulation, and I don't think it's all that effective. It gives you kind of a swivel that you can't do anything with, so that's not very good. You can't lean her forward or back with it. You can't really do much at all. It just creates a tiniest little bit of a swivel, so it's really kind of useless. And then she has this ab crunch, which barely works at all. So you can see there's some stressing right there just from me trying to move it. Apparently it's way too thick on the inside for it to function, because it doesn't look like it's really forcing too much, but then when you try to move it, it creates those stress marks. So that's not very good, and you can't get it to go back either, really. I mean, it moves a little, but it doesn't stay. So I don't really know what happened with this figure. A lot of bad execution, I think. Her waist is kind of like a ball peg. Well, I guess it really is a ball peg, but it doesn't really have much use. I mean, you can move her a little bit here and there, but I don't know, it kind of just sits back in its own place most of the time, so it's not very good. You get a little bit of an ab crunch out of it, but it's just really a whole lot of odd execution. I'm not sure what happened with this figure. Then she has the standard ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. There's a wrist swivel at the end of the glove, a wrist pivot, and a finger pivot, so she can grab the handlebars of her scooter thingy. So I guess the arms are pretty much standard. The hips, though, they're almost vertical. They're not even barely a Y hinge. They go pretty far up. I guess it's only about maybe a little over 45, but I don't know. It's just the hips are really weird. You can't use them for anything because there's no swivel. So even if you bring the legs forward, you can't, like, to bring them up, you can't rotate them to bring the knee straight. So it's just they're only good for the splits. It's just really an odd design for the articulation there. The knees are pretty standard, double jointed knees. There's a swivel above the boot, ankle pivot, and an ankle rocker, so the ankles are good. She stands really well considering she's got tiny feet, so that's nice. But the rest of the figure is just kind of odd. It's like, I'm not sure if maybe they were trying new things and didn't know what to do with it or what, but there's a lot of really strange things that make this figure subpar, and that's why I have included it in my probably top 5 list of bad Marvel Legends figures. It's really rather disappointing, but if you just stand it on a shelf, she doesn't look too bad just standing there. So it's not really a horrible figure in that sense. It's just, don't expect it to be executed well. You know, it's only going to suffice as a place filler for Scarlet Witch. That's really about it. And then like for like the outfit here, there's no sculpt work, it's all just paint. So I don't know, it's just kind of not the best figure out there by any means. So I don't know, if you need a Scarlet Witch figure, go ahead and pick one up. It'll work to stand on a shelf, but don't expect to do much posing or anything else with her. There it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.